And now we move to the co-main event of the evening in the UFC's welterweight division, a 5-round bout between number 4 and number 5 ranked contenders in the welterweight division, and the number 4 ranked streaking contender in Chicago native Belal, remember the name Muhammad, going up against the number 5 ranked former welterweight title challenger, coming into this fight on short notice after defeating Jorge Gamebred Masvidal and the number 5 ranked Gilbert Durinho Burns. This fight is very tricky, man. It's very tricky. I've picked against Belal Muhammad pretty much every chance that I've gotten. I don't even know if I've ever picked him on this podcast before. I might have picked him against Damian Maia. I feel like I probably picked him against Damian Maia, but other than that, I can't tell you. I don't think I've ever picked Belal Muhammad to win a fight. And you know what's happened? He's proved me wrong every single time. So, shout out to Belal Muhammad continuing to prove me wrong. This fight against Gilbert Burns is tricky, man. Gilbert Burns is going to be the better striker. He's going to have the bigger power, going to have the bigger right hand, the bigger left hook, the bigger uppercuts, the better ability to land one-hitter-quitter knockout punches on the feet. Obviously, the better striker is Gilbert Burns. But Belal Muhammad's a good striker too, man. He mixes up his combinations well. He uses a lot of good footwork. I think something that people don't touch on enough is Belal Muhammad's ability to use his footwork, his lateral movement, his in and out movement to set up his punches. Is he the cleanest technically? No. But does he have decent punching selection? Yeah, he does. I mean, he knocked out a former undefeated fighter in Sean Brady, and I thought Brady was going to beat the shit out of Belal Muhammad, and I was wrong. I picked Brady. I was very confident in Brady. He was one of my most confident plays on the card. Belal Muhammad knocks him out at the end of the second round, outstrikes him, pieces him up, tires him out. Yes, he gets hit with some big shots, but for the most part, that was the Belal Muhammad show. I think the first round was pretty close. I might have given the first round to Brady, but he put him backward, put him on the back foot, pressured him up against the cage, landed the double jab, overhand right, left hook, rear uppercuts, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 1, 1, 6, 3, 1, overhand right, left hook, right uppercut, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, right uppercut, jab, overhand right, and then eventually landed one more overhand right to have the ref jump in with about 40 seconds left in the second round going into the third. And, he put him out. He beat him. And then before that, he defeats Vicente Luque in a 5-round fight where he got rocked at certain points, but that was mainly a striking matchup. But then Belal was able to use his counter wrestling to take down Luque, control him on the floor, and stop him from working up to the feet. I mean, the wrestling of Belal Muhammad is relentless. Same thing against Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. On the feet, of course, it's going to be Wonderboy's fight. But Belal's able to get those takedowns. He's able to jump in on a single leg, switch it to a double leg, get the takedown, work from the body lock, work some trips, counter the forward pressure of the opponent, get the takedowns, work from the top position, good from the half guard, good from the in the guard, good from side control, transition into mount, flatten out Stephen Thompson, almost get him out of there by TKO, flatten him out with the hips. He's very good at pushing the opponent up against the cage, kind of using a Dagestani style of controlling the wrist, up in the half guard, getting the opponent to give up his back, work from the back, side control, forward pressure to stop the opponent from being able to hit a switch and reverse position on you, forward pressure up against the cage, ground and pound, leg lace the one leg, figure four the leg, triangle the leg, boom, 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 land some more punches. He's a very solid grappler. And even though I would say Gilbert Burns has the much better jiu-jitsu, Belal Muhammad might have the better wrestling, man. He might be able to out-wrestle Gilbert Burns. I know that Hamzat wasn't able to out-wrestle Gilbert Burns, so, maybe he's not able to. But the better striking is 100% on the side of Gilbert Burns. He's going to have the bigger power. He's going to have the more technical shots. He's going to have the better low kicks, the better right hands, the better left hooks, the better jab into the left hook. Belal Muhammad's going to really have to look out for the left hook. He's been knocked out with the left hook before by Vicente Luque in the first fight, came back, beat him by unanimous decision the second time. And then he has also been knocked out with left side weapons or rocked with left side weapons against a southpaw in Jeff Neal with the left high kick and the straight left hand. So left-handed weapons seem to give Belal Muhammad a lot of trouble. So I think Gilbert Burns using the lead left hand, the left hook, a lead uppercut off a feint right hand, a 2-5 would be a good weapon for him against the wrestling heavy Belal. You might be able to catch him with an uppercut, catch him with a knee. I think that Gilbert Burns has the much better weapons on the feet, but the wrestling threat of Belal Muhammad might allow for his striking and his volume striking to give Gilbert Burns a little bit of trouble. Gilbert Burns isn't the heaviest on volume. He kind of lets the fight come to him. And Belal Muhammad is heavy on the forward pressure. The longer the fight goes, the takedowns, the top control, the pressure, stuff like that. Like, I could see Belal tiring out Gilbert Burns over 25 minutes. A lot of people might look at this as a 3-rounder and immediately give the fight to Gilbert Burns. He's fought the better competition. He has much bigger wins. And those are all correct. But at the same time, look at it for what it is. This is a 5-rounder. Gilbert Burns, yeah, he's gone 5 rounds before against Tyron Woodley. I think he went 5 rounds, full 5 rounds. Did he not? But, against a guy who's going to be heavy on the wrestling, heavy with the takedowns. He went 3 rounds with Hamza hard, but a lot of that fight took place on the feet. There wasn't too much wrestling. And Gilbert Burns was able to stop some of the wrestling. And even if he got taken down, he worked his way back up to the feet. But a heavy wrestler, yeah, he fought Kamaru Usman, but Usman's not a big wrestler, man. Usman's not a heavy wrestler at this point. At that point in his career, he was working to fight on the feet. He rocked Usman with an overhand right. He hurt him. He rocked him pretty bad. But Belal Muhammad's going to be forward pressure, looking for takedowns constantly. Head on the inside single, transition to a head on the outside, transition to the double leg, transition to the body lock to get inside or outside trips. Looking to grab the leg, hike it up. Hike it up for a single leg, trip out the back leg, go for a single leg, turn the corner, grab the other leg, and ankle pick in a body lock style position. Like, he's going to be relentlessly looking for these takedowns and pressuring Gilbert Burns, which could tire out Gilbert Burns over the 25-minute fight. I honestly think this fight is pretty much 60-40. I would give the advantage to Gilbert Burns. I think he's the better fighter. I think he has more finishing upside. I think he has the better striking on the feet by a mile. But the forward pressure, the wrestling, the takedowns of Belal could give Gilbert Burns trouble over 25 minutes. In a 3-round fight, I think I would favor Gilbert Burns a lot more than I do in a 25-minute fight, because we've seen that Belal can keep up that pace and pressure for 25 minutes like he did against Vicente Luque. Even though he did slow down a little bit, he was able to keep up the wrestling, keep up the pressure, push the opponent back, get the takedowns, work for the body lock, control the opponent on the floor like he did against Wonderboy, get the back control, flatten him out. Like, he can control you with the wrestling, so you have to be careful. I think this is pretty much, like I said, a 60-40 fight. I would ever so slightly lean towards Gilbert Burns because he has more weapons overall. But it wouldn't shock me if Belal was able to out-grapple, tire out Gilbert Burns, and use his wrestling to control Gilbert Burns and avoid the jiu-jitsu and submission attempts of Burns. I think Burns is the better fighter, but sometimes the better fighter doesn't always win. Records 22-3 for Belal Muhammad, 22-5 for Gilbert Burns, both coming off wins. Belal over Sean Brady, Gilbert Burns that win over Jorge Masvidal back at UFC 287. 5'10 for Gilbert Burns, 5'11 for Belal, 72-inch reach for Belal Muhammad, 71-inch reach for Gilbert Burns. When you look at the takedowns or significant strikes, 4.47 for Belal Muhammad to 3.38 for Gilbert Burns. 42% significant strike accuracy rate for Belal Muhammad to 47% significant strike accuracy rate for Gilbert Burns. Belal absorbs 3.68 strikes per minute. Gilbert Burns pretty much neck and neck with him, absorbing 3.13 strikes per minute. 58% striking defense on the side of Belal Muhammad, 54% striking defense on the side of the former title challenger in Burns. When you look at the grappling, neck and neck pretty much in terms of takedowns per 15 minutes, 2.19 for Belal, 2.16 for Gilbert Burns, 35% takedown accuracy for Belal Muhammad, 37% takedown accuracy for Gilbert Burns, 92% takedowns defended for Belal Muhammad to 47% takedown defense rate for Gilbert Burns. 0.19 submissions per 15-minute fight for Belal Muhammad, 0.59 for Gilbert Burns. Listen, man, the odds for this fight are pretty close. I mean, you've got Belal Muhammad. Let's see. The odds aren't listed on the site, but I'm going to pull it up. Belal Muhammad's plus 110, Gilbert Burns minus 120, somewhere around there. Minus 130 for Gilbert Burns, plus 110 for Belal Muhammad. So pretty much a pick'em fight in terms of the statistics and the way that it's broken down from a betting perspective. I'm not a fan of Belal Muhammad. I'm much more of a fan of Gilbert Burns, to be honest. But over 25 minutes, I think I'm going to pick the underdog. He's proved me wrong so many times, I almost feel like I can't pick against him at this point. Now, maybe the next fight I will. I don't think he'd beat a Kamaru Usman. But with the heavy wrestling, with the pressure, with the takedown control, working with Khabib out in Dagestan, getting that ground control, the triangle leg mount, the mount up against the fence, the one knee or the 1 foot down with the knee up to the leg lace on the opposite leg. I think he could potentially control Gilbert Burns for 3 out of the 5 rounds. And on the feet, yeah, Gilbert Burns could definitely knock him out. Gilbert Burns could submit him if he shoots a bad takedown. Gilbert Burns is the better fighter, but I think Belal's the better wrestler. And Gilbert Burns only has, what did I just say for takedowns defended? Like a 47% takedown defense? 47% takedown defense for Gilbert Burns against one of the best wrestlers in the division, even if you don't like him. And Belal, remember the name Muhammad. I'm going to go with the underdog. I'm going to do it, man, because I was originally going to bet on Gilbert Burns in this fight. But really thinking about it, I think I have to go with Belal. I'm going to go with Belal Muhammad to defeat Gilbert Burns via a 48-47 unanimous decision. I think he wins 3 out of the 5 rounds. I think the grappling heavy pressure is going to take over against Gilbert Burns in the championship rounds. I think he's going to be able to take down, control Gilbert Burns up against the cage. I think on the feet, yes, Gilbert Burns has the bigger power. Yes, he has the more knockout upside. I'd love to see Gilbert Burns knock out Belal Muhammad. I am not a Belal Muhammad fan, but sometimes I got to pick fighters I'm not fans of. And I think the wrestling heavy, grappling approach, the top control, the transitions on the floor, I think that all favors Belal Muhammad over 25 minutes. 15 minutes, I think I'd pick Gilbert Burns. 25 minutes, I'm going to go with Belal Muhammad. So give me Belal. Remember the name Muhammad. The number, what ranking is he in the division? The number 4 ranked fighter in the welterweight division to defeat the number 5 ranked Gilbert Durinho Burns via 48-47 unanimous decision. I think the wrestling, the top control, the pressure, the relentless pressure with the wrestling from Belal might get him caught in a submission, might get him caught with an uppercut, but I think he's going to be able to tire out Gilbert Burns over 25 minutes. If there's a finish in this fight, I think it comes from Gilbert Burns knocking out Belal or rocking Belal Muhammad and then setting up an arm triangle submission. But I'm going to go with Belal over 25 minutes. So the number 4 ranked Belal, remember the name Muhammad, to defeat the number 5 ranked Gilbert Durinho Burns as the plus 110, plus 120 underdog via 48-47 unanimous decision.